Here in the Troy Athletics Department with the Director of Track and Field at Troy University, Marc Davis. I'm Barry McKnight. Coach, I guess it was about a month ago. I know it was right at the beginning of the year when you and I talked at Trojan Talk live on the radio, and you were just about ready in early January to really get things going. Catch us up a little bit between then and now.
We've done pretty well, actually. You know, we've taken small numbers of men. We've taken our full women's squad. We've had some really good performances. I think this year we're seeing the youth of our women's team for sure. We have a lot of young individuals on our team that are still trying to find their way. So they're having some very, very good performances. This league is very good. So what we're trying to do is we're just trying to get in where we fit in, do the things we need to do, and improve week to week. We've got a big meet this weekend up in Vanderbilt, so it's going to be a good test. It's going to be different levels of track and field, so you'll have some people, I think North Dakota State and Indiana State, like teams that we never see,
right?
Which is kind of cool to get those kids in that situation where they're able just to adapt to a new environment and do things they need to do.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but when you said at the beginning that you're taking a small group of your men to the early meets and a lot of your women to the meets, the mindset there is to get the ladies out there, the young team, get them out there, get them acclimated, see what they can do.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, track is one of those, it's a lot mental as well as physical. You have to be good physically, but you also have to be able to process everything that's going on. It's like a circus when you're out at a track meet. A lot of things going on at one time. You see, very, very strong athletes, strong-looking athletes. And sometimes the mental game is a huge thing once you get out there. You don't know how to respond. It's not high school anymore. So
I was going to ask you about that later on, but I might as well ask you about that now. We talked to a lot of the coaches about the continued ascension of technology in what they do. I mean, you filmed this, you break that down, you've got all of these different mock-ups that you can use. A lot of people believe, or they consider track and field to be just about as basic an athletic endeavor as you either run faster than they do or you don't. You either throw it farther, how does the mental aspect, how does the technology factor in to getting better?
It really depends on where you come from. If you keep it blue collar and just keep it as basic as possible, you can still get the same results as those people with all the technology. Like you're saying, track is basic. People can run fast without all the technology.
Right.
It just takes a little longer. And I think that the approach that we've always had with our kids is we've always had really good success with our younger athletes, believe it or not. I mean, we've had some kids that have come in, freshman and sophomore, qualify for the national meet, win conference championships, things like that. So when I mentioned that earlier with, the younger women, they just have to adapt earlier. And that is the thing that is you just don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
It can happen or it may not. It may take a couple years for them to get going. And that's what we're finding. Some of them are developing a lot later, or not a lot later, but later than others. But they're starting to come along. And, every day what we see is we try to make sure that they're peaking at the right times. We're trying to make sure that they're running fast the last 2 to 3 weeks of any given season, indoors and outdoors. And that's just by design on how we do it. And trying to keep the body ready, trying to keep the mind ready, trying to keep everything going in a natural progression. And sometimes it's harder than others. But what you're starting to see now, we're at practice and we're starting to see some things that maybe you didn't see in January, or maybe you didn't see in December. You're starting to see turnover increase. You're starting to see power through different positions coming out of the blocks. You're starting to see them move weight in the weight room. Weights in the weight room, it's huge for us. When we start to see our numbers in the weight room go up, you put that with the power output coming out of the blocks or getting off the ground, now you're in a good spot. So there's a lot of things that we think about that have to happen at the right times.
Weights for everybody. I mean, the sprinters, the distance, the middle distance runners,
and
everybody.
And the distance runners are a little bit different in the way that they lift. But sprints wise, we're in there and we're doing cleans, snatches, squats, and we're just trying to make sure we're doing the Olympic lifts that are getting them ready to fire when they're ready to go.
This is all fascinating to me. We could go down this rabbit hole for a long time because it's interesting to me. But let's name some names. First, on the men's side, who has impressed you early on? Who are you depending upon?
Well, so far, Tydrick Thomas has been doing some great things. He qualified for USA's.
Yes.
So we've got that coming up next week. I think he's like number 12 between 12 and 15 in the country right now, even though we don't have men's indoors.
Right.
You know, I mean, he's running at a high level. So I think that if we can keep him healthy, and that's part of it. You know, with track and field, it's a long season. So keeping him healthy, going into outdoors, I mean, it's going to be a great thing. Alex Robinson, you know, he's another kid that's been here for a while. He's had a lot of success with us, and he's helped us round out some relays. He's run fast in the 200. I think he's a 200, 400 guy, and I think that's where he's going to help us the most in addition to those relays. We've got a lot of good freshmen that are here. Evan Brown that's been doing well. Still have Javon throwing.
Yes, Javon Osborne. Yes.
Altwain Bedward. We have a number of kids that are doing some great things. Our middle distance group is doing very well in the 800. We're going to have some kids on the Keith Warner on the distance side that's going to turn some heads, I think. So we're doing well on the men's side.
On the women's side, any names that you feel comfortable in kind of putting the spotlight on early on?
Right. I think you always have to look at Beniosa Ezekwuze. We call her Benny.
Yes.
She picked up right where she left off last year in the shot put. I think she's going to do very, very well in that event again. You have Brooke Burns, who transferred in from Marshall this past year in the hammer. I think that she could do very well there and score. Shania Washington, who was here last year, she was a finalist indoors in the 60, finalist outdoors in the 100. I think she's going to turn some heads there too. I think we can do a lot of great things, and we have a good deal of younger kids that are coming up that I think can really do a great job for us.
You mentioned we're recording this on a Wednesday because you are heading out to Nashville for the Music City Invite coming up through the weekend. What about the rest of the schedule? Name some of the highlights, some of the flashpoints of this schedule that could really be telling for this squad.
Yeah, I think once we get outdoors, Ole Miss, we go to Alabama, Auburn. We're going to take a group down the USF for a meet down there. We're get some hot weather actually. So I mean we have a good schedule outdoors. It's not for the faint of heart. I just kind of throw these kids to the wolves and let them go out there and compete. And, one person you asked me on the women's side, too, one person that I did miss was Kasia Cooper, who is definitely, she's coming on now at the right time. She's starting to run fast in the 400. I think she can run a very good 200 for us as well. But, relays, she's going to step up and do well for us. But I think that's another one that you have to look for as we move outdoors.
Later on in the spring, as we get closer to that point, we're going to have to catch up again. The Penn relays are coming up. All of these different things that there's. Yeah, that's exactly right.
13th, yep.
The Troy Invitational. That's something that I know the fans will be interested in. We'll definitely have to visit before then, for sure. The director of track and field, Marc Davis, is here at the Troy Fieldhouse, right next to the north end zone at the Vet. For Coach Davis and everybody here in Troy Athletics, I'm Barry McKnight.